Welcome to Sports Now. I'm Kirsten Peters.
And I'm Luke Modrovsky.
We'll kick things off today with baseball. In a game called after 8 innings due to darkness, the Colonels took advantage of 5 Marywood errors as they won 12-5. Freshman Brian Niffenecker led Wilkes with 3 RBIs, going 2 for 3.
Later in the week, the Colonels traveled up north to the University of Scranton. They helped break in the new Quinn Athletics campus, but it would be the host team who would get the last laugh.
Junior Nick Capozzi came up with a clutch 2-run double in the top of the 9th, tying the score at 8. But Scranton walked off in the bottom half of the inning with a sac fly off of sophomore pitcher Jeremy Zeke.
Now, Kirsten, for the best part of the weekend, you might hurt me if I steal your thunder. So
That's right, Luke, that's right. Wilkes baseball might have frozen themselves over the weekend in frigid conditions at both our home field and at Kings, but they were able to overcome the cold temperatures to win not 1, not 2, but 3 games in a sweep against the Monarchs.
In the bottom of the 9th inning of the single game on Friday, a leadoff solo home run on the 4th pitch of Nick Capozzi's at-bat gave the Colonels the 7-6 victory.
But that wasn't even the most exciting part of the weekend. After being tied 2-2 at the end of 7, both the Colonels and the Monarchs traded 1-run scores in the 8th and the 9th. The game would remain tied until the 12th inning.
Freshman Michael Patrizio led off with a single past second base. After stealing second, Patrizio was able to advance to third on an overthrow by the pitcher. With an overthrow by the center fielder to third, Patrizio was able to cross the plate and take the 5-4 lead in the heat of the moment action. Being the catalyst to the Colonels' breakout inning, and Kirsten, how many runs they scored in the inning?
They scored a total of 9 runs. That would sink Kings 13-6 in Game 1.
Oh, man, 9 runs in the top of the 12th. That's crazy. So a strong all-around performance in Game 2 would give the Colonels a 3-1 victory.
In the top of the 4th, the Colonels stretched their lead after Patrizio doubled to right center and scored off of junior Jack Fisher's single to shallow left field, giving freshman Andrew Nzanka his first save after a scoreless 7th inning, following 6 efficient innings by sophomore Matt Amaral.
Now over to Lady Colonels softball. They started out the week strong as senior Christina Gambino's 3 home runs and 9 RBIs led Wilkes to a sweep against Eastern. Gambino had 7 of the Lady Colonels' 8 RBIs in Game 1.
Later in the week, the Lady Colonels traveled to Marywood. With Game 1 tied at 1, sophomore Sarah Gibson smashed a go-ahead home run as she finished 4 for 4 in that game. Sophomore Grayson Staunton shut down the Marywood at-bats, going the distance while only allowing 5 hits and 1 run, striking out 4.
In Game 2, Gambino, there she is again, and junior Haley Welker mashed 2 home runs as Wilkes won 8-1. And, man, they are just crushing the ball.
That's for sure. On Saturday, Wilkes softball hosted Community Day. There were various food trucks and other vendors to try and introduce folks, particularly younger players, to a high-level game of softball.
In Game 1 against crosstown rival Kings College, the Colonels sent sophomore Grayson Staunton to the circle. Sweet Tea Staunton. And as you guess, she has the nickname because of her love for sweet tea. She pitched, well, sweet indeed, scattering 7 hits while only allowing 1 run.
Haley Welker had another bomb to right field to help the cause. The Lady Colonels took Game 1 4-1.
In Game 2, though, it would be a much different story as Kings would capitalize on 6 Wilkes errors en route to a 14-2 defeat.
Over to Sunday, where Wilkes traveled to Delaware Valley in MAC Freedom action. In Game 1, the Ladies Colonels started out hot, jumping to a 3-0 lead, even stretching it to 6-1, but fell to a late Delaware Valley comeback. Freshman Brittany Jumalon tripled.
Game 2 was a near duplicate to Game 1 as Wilkes held a 5-3 lead heading into the bottom of the 7th inning, but Delaware Valley plated 3 runs in the bottom of the frame to win 6-5.
Now, in men's lacrosse news, junior John Wink got his 100th career point against Mount St. Mary, but the Colonels fell there 16-8.
In the MAC Freedom opener, John Wink and senior Garrett Armstrong both had 9 ground balls each, but Colonels never held a lead as they fell to FDU Florham 11-7.
They continue conference play tomorrow when they play crosstown rival Kings College. Coverage of that game will be available on WCLH 90.7, Wilkes University Radio at 7 p.m.
Over to the women's side now, senior Jessica Held had 9 goals, junior Kira Baccio 5, and freshman Sierra Duman 4, as they combined for 18 of the 20 Lady Colonel goals in a 20-16 victory over Lancaster Bible College.
On Saturday, senior Jessica Held scored her 33rd goal of the season, the lone goal of the game for the Lady Colonels in a 13-1 loss at the hands of FDU Florham.
Man, it'd be nice to just carry some of those over to the next game, you know? So they'll take on crosstown rival Kings College tomorrow at 4 p.m. on the road. And if you time it right, you can actually catch both lacrosse games tomorrow, as the men don't play until 7 p.m.
Now, for men's volleyball, senior Daniel Sales scored a double-double with 10 kills and 22 assists. But the Colonels still fell to Misericordia in 5 sets, 26-24, 17-25, 25-19, 21-25, and 15-9.
Junior Jones Mensa set career highs with 14 kills and 6 blocks, but the Colonels still fell to Arcadia in 4 sets, 25-27, 25-15, 25-22, and 25-13.
The Colonels swept CCNY in non-conference action with match scores 25-23, 25-20, and 25-16. Senior Daniel Sales led all Colonel attackers with 10 kills, 20 assists, and 5 aces.
And last night, the Colonels defeated visiting Widener in their final match of the season. Seniors Michael Henning and Brian Schumacher, along with sophomore Cole Hefner, had big nights as the Colonels closed their first season of play in the Mid-Atlantic Conference with a sweep. Gotta love it.
In men's tennis, the doubles team of juniors Jonathan White and Courtney Murphy came up with the only doubles win of the day for the Colonels as they fell to TCNJ 7-2. White also captured the lone singles win, 6-1, 3-6, and 10-3.
The Colonels also traveled to Franklin and Marshall College on Sunday night while the team fell 6-3. Seniors Courtney Murphy, Andrew Neidig, along with sophomore Chris Materitz were all singles winners.
Now for women's tennis, the Lady Colonels were unable to come up with a victory in any match as they fell 9-0 to TCNJ.
This is exactly what Coach Light wants, though. He wants his team to be tested going forward.
Exactly. The Lady Colonels also dropped a tight match against Franklin and Marshall, and Erin Volutza and Laura Zielinski were singles winners. And Francesca Varela-Siri and Laura Zielinski were the lone double winners as Wilkes fell 6-3. Let's check out the Athlete of the Year bracket now.
Oh, man, this has been just an exciting time for us here at the Wilkes Beacon Sports staff. As you can see, that's where all of the coverage has been so far. So we're going to move ahead to the first and second and third, whatever you want to call them, the first quarterfinal and semifinal rounds through the bracket. And on the men's side, we had the preliminary round, and the women's side preliminary round. You can see Fernandez, Maldonado, and USTAT taking that one there. And looking ahead to the first round here, we had some exciting matchups. There were a couple upsets, a couple ones that we expected, but it's just been very interesting to see how this whole thing's playing out because we never had any sort of thing like this before. So moving on to the first round now, we'll take a look at the top half of the men's bracket, and you can see Marcus Robinson coasting his way into the semifinals today. Mason Gross, a little bit of a surprise there from him.
Yeah, but he gets a lot of attention on social media and has a lot of
He
followers.
does. So Robinson and Mason Gross currently in the semifinals now as we will move to the bottom half of this bracket. And no basketball players here in the semifinal on the bottom half of the bracket, but there's a lot of interesting players. As you can see, Luke Wood making a run to baseball's Matt Reiner. So, I don't know, a little sad to see Jake DeMarco not getting a lot of love there, but he did lose a close one. So, now over to the female side. So, we've seen, it's been very interesting on the female side. Grayson Staunton has, I mean, we expected her to go deep into this tournament, but Diana Connor had probably the most shocking upset of them all as she took down Marissa Surtee here in the quarterfinal round.
Exactly. Something we didn't expect. Some of these lower seeds are actually wiggling their way up into the top here now.
The double-digit Haley Gajowski making her way into the semifinals. So she's taking on Connor right now. So we're going to move on to the bottom half of the women's bracket. And this is where you're going to see Staunton.
Yeah, right here.
And you can see Staunton, Courtney Stanley in the semifinals, voting going on now. And it's just been crazy.
Completely.
So we do have the semifinals coming up, and it's going to be a very exciting 48 hours, that's for sure.
That's all we have today for Sports Now. I'm Kirsten Peters.
And I'm Luke Modrovsky. Tyler Aldinger will have weather after this.